week. I'm breaking the law, touching my phone while I'm driving. Oregon's got a new law that if I do that, I could go to jail if I get caught 3 times in 10 years. So I'm pushing the envelope for you guys this morning. First thing I want to say is a really shitty week for our country with what happened yesterday. Terrible thing, very eerie. I had a very similar feeling to almost like 9/11, and I remember exactly where I was when 9/11 happened. And obviously I'll forever remember waking up and seeing the news early in the morning, what happened yesterday. So hearts and prayers go out to everybody that was affected by it, and those that I know, those that I don't know. Just a really messed up thing. But what am I doing today? Today I am out checking out a new lead. So basically what I want to talk about is knowing your areas and knowing what leads are what types of leads, right? What leads are what types of leads. That's a mouthful. So basically we got a call on a teardown property, and I'm going to look at it right now. As you can see, it's on kind of a narrower road. The road doesn't have sewer on it, but what the road does have is a lot of peacocks. You can see the peacocks in the footage here. Those are legit wild peacocks, folks. So that's something that Lake Oswego's got going for it. There's a little neighborhood that's got wild peacocks that have been there for a long, long time, and there's a whole bunch of them. And the yard that you're seeing them in, that gal feeds them every day, so they kind of congregate in her yard, but they meander all over the neighborhood. I was just at the bank that's right around the corner. They hang out in front of the bank, and it's the only place I've ever been where I've seen wild peacocks that just kind of hang out. So anyway, that's where the lead is. But more importantly, as you can see from the road, it's a narrow kind of 1.5 car width road, and basically it doesn't have sewer that runs down the road. So the lead that we're looking at, you can kind of see the footage here. It's a big lot. It's almost an acre, which, in theory, in a hot area that's in need of increased density, you get an acre plot of land, you should be chomping at the bit. Your mouth should be watered. You should be excited, right? You can really develop this thing, add a number of housing units to it through redevelopment, and make a ton of money. Well, here's the challenge, right? You need to know what kind of city amenities are available when you get a lead like this in. So in this particular area, the average investor would probably get the lead in, and they'd see that there's one little house on there and like a detached piece of crap ADU in the back. You can see kind of the tarp over the top of it, and they'd probably look at it like, okay, well, what can this be as a fixer little house with kind of a weird detached ADU with the tarp over it. And they might try and base values off of that. Another investor might say, or another average investor might look at it and go, okay, it's an acre, it's zoned R7.5. That means that, we could put like 5 houses on it, right? Or 4 to 5 houses on it. So then they might try and put it under contract, and they might try and sell it to a builder based on valuing it off of what you can do with it in terms of just the underlying zoning. Now, what does a professional investor do? Well, a professional investor, first of all, knows their areas, right? And they know where city sewer extends to and where it doesn't, if you have areas like that in your market. And number 2 is, if it doesn't, they understand that when you have to put in a new septic system, it takes a lot of space. And so basically what it amounts to is this acre here that we're looking at it as a 1-house teardown, where basically we tear down the little house there and the shit shack in the back, and we put back one bigger house. But the reason being is because we have to put in a new septic system. We cannot tap to city sewer. If we can tap to city sewer, you don't need to put in a septic system. You don't need a septic system. You don't need a drain field. Some of you guys might know what all that stuff is, but basically the tank holds all the poo and the water, and the drain field drains it all out. It's a drain field, it's a leach field, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's pipe that runs in the ground that's perforated, and it drains out the tank once the tank gets to a certain level. So basically, you need space to be able to do that, and so what that does is it eats up the additional lot size. So for us, as a professional investor, we look at this property. Number 1, we know it's in an area that doesn't have sewer, or sewer is about 200 feet away, 200 to 300 feet away from the property, which basically means you'd have to extend the sewer main in order to get it there, in order to tap sewer, which is a really, really expensive thing to do, and it just doesn't pencil for a 2 or 3 house development. You have to do much more than that in order to make it pencil, just because of the cost, or you wait for the city to bring it through, and then at that point, that's when the real density play starts. So 2 ways to invest in this property. Number 1 is you buy it as a long-term play. and you wait for city to bring sewer out in front of the property, at which point you tap, and you can kind of utilize the underlying zoning to its max capacity in terms of number of units, additional units that you can create through subdivision. Or number two is you look at it for a redevelopment play for what's there, and you utilize the fact that you have to put in a new septic system, and that's going to take space. So really it's a one down, one up, but the one up is going to be a much bigger house to replace the old one. So that's kind of what's going on with this particular lead. So just figured I'd do a little case study as I'm out driving this morning and riding dirty here as I'm looking and talking at the phone when I'm not supposed to be. But hey, one last thing before I get out of here. DFA Launchpad, it launches yesterday. Make sure you go sign up if you thought about it. Absolutely the best decision that you can make for yourself for the money. It's just a drop in the bucket compared to what you get, which is basically complete structure and complete access to me and my team on a daily basis. But more importantly, the number one skill set that we're going to teach you is how to find deals on your own, right? And that's really, at the end of the day, the number one reason why people either succeed or fail in this business is being able to figure out how to consistently find deals on their own. And once you do it once, you find that first deal, it's like all you gotta do is rinse and repeat. It's like the world of opportunity opens up to you. So go check it out, and we'd love to have many, many more of you guys in that program so we can help many, many more of you get your first deal done and get you on your way to having the type of financial success that we all deserve. So that's this week's WWTD. As I always say, I may not walk on water, but I do walk on my own job site. See you guys next week.